Well, welcome both of y'all to our session today. So we're this is part of a series. We're doing a number of these series where we're getting Rice alumni together and have some little bit deeper and more meaningful conversations where where we're getting alumni with current students together and have deeper, meaningful conversations and just talk about our experiences about the way things are now and where they're going. And have be able to reflect back on the way things used to be. And so open conversation, and you feel free to ask questions of each other throughout. But let's just get it kicked off and do a brief introduction. So
All right.
introduce yourself.
My name is Chali Taylor. I'm originally from Washington, D.C. Came down to Houston to play football my freshman year and sophomore season and spring. And then stopped after my sophomore spring and pursued an internship on Capitol Hill back in DC. So I'm loving my time in Houston, exploring, making new connections, and figuring out the city.
Perfect. What's your college?
I'm in Will Rice College.
Will Rice. Okay.
We just won the IM basketball championship, by the way. I always got to shout that out because it's the first one in a while, they said. So, I got to plug that in. Yeah.
What year you graduate?
I'm a junior, so I graduate. I'll be graduating next year around this time. Yes.
And for the Will Rice Championship, you came off the bench.
No, actually, we didn't have enough to come off the bench. We had about 4 to 5 guys a game, so we tried to make it work. But yeah, awesome. It was a good show. And it was a good time. Yeah,
I'll definitely a man down someday.
Yeah, playing extra hard. Yeah,
right.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, my name is Alex Francis, Houston, Texas, born and raised. Rice University grad in 2013. Played football and track while I was there. Major was economics and sports management, did a double major. After graduating, went into working in corporate retail with some analytics for Academy Sports and Outdoors. Left there, went into management consulting where I met Bryce. As a co-worker and collaborator and partner for a number of years. And then now I'm out kind of by myself on an independent trail, being a management consultant, doing some project management and construction management.
Cool. Well, let's just dive into it. One of the topics what's interesting when I'm talking to folks is everybody feels some kind of way about having their experience about being at Rice. And I've heard that from staff, I've heard that from faculty, I've heard that from alumni. But one thing that I hear is especially from alumni, is just like, well, it was the way it was when we were there, and things are different. But then I talk to existing students, and I'm hearing a lot of the similar themes.
Yeah.
So maybe speak to Alex. Kind of, what was how did you feel about your time on campus?
Okay,
as you reflect back,
in the sense of alumni, or in the sense of just on campus?
No, while you were there on campus.
Yeah, but I mean, in relation to like networking with alumni, or just
your experience being on campus as a student.
Okay, it was okay. I'd say a couple people were friendly, a couple people didn't care because you're a student athlete, so they don't feel like at times you're in the same circles as them or the same academia class as them. So you get a couple that are friendly, but here and there you're kind of sticking to the people that whether that's other athletes or people that you're seeing around the way, or people that you were already there at the summer training with, or anything like that you have better connection with. So for me, I kind of stayed in my own little bubble for the most part, other than the couple of roommates that I had that were pretty cool, or the people that I had just in different surgeries that I would catch up with, but it wasn't a lot. I'll just say that, and really a handful that I barely keep up with today, after graduation. So for me, it wasn't anything I was looking forward to, or anything I was, making sure that I did, or making sure I attended, or anything like that. I did go to parties here and there, but it wasn't, and didn't feel like they were something for me particular. So after our sophomore year, I think we could move on campus, and so I was gone. So I mean, I moved closer to U of H and TSU with my roommates, and we kind of had more fun just being there and interacting in those spaces outside of having to come to school or come to practice and go to games and stuff like that. So that's, I guess, in a nutshell, my experience of what that looked like.
Yeah. I think I heard that quite a bit, where especially as athletes, we tend to sort of stay in our own bubble, which makes sense. But as you sort of reflect back, how do you feel like if you had that to do over again, what might you have done differently?
Um, I might have tried a little harder to make those connections to people on campus that weren't athletes. Um, if that would have been received, that's from their perspective to figure out. But I feel like I would have made a little bit more effort or a little bit more conscious effort to make sure it happened. Because for me, it was like, oh, they're doing their own thing. I'm gonna do my own thing with my guys. But it's just for that networking purpose to have that connection. Because when I'm out and about now, I mean, I run into Rice alumni all the time, and we have a connection and we interact and we have this weird thing that we went to this weird school and we get to talk about it and nobody else knows what we're talking about and it's awesome. But I don't know if that connection would have happened organically on campus if we were there at the same time.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
So being that you're there on campus
Yeah.
now, you kind of hear
Yeah.
what he stated, and talk a little bit about your background and that you came in and
Yeah.
you walked onto the football team,
Yeah.
but but you chose to leave. So you sort of straddled, what it's
yeah,
like to be with in a part of the athletic
Yeah.
program and versus now part of the general student
Yeah.
body.
I think it's a unique experience that I'm honestly very fortunate to have. So I went through the rigorous training of the football, and I do know what you mean about that. You feel like you're in your own little world.
yeah,
You spend time with those guys, fall camp, whatever it may be. And yeah, so I was a PWO, right? So a preferred walk on. I walked on the team and went through all the trainings, the practices, and I did feel that little bit of a little like almost isolation just with the team. You feel like you're disconnected from a lot of the other students on campus. So I do think that some of that is a little similar. But then when I stopped playing, I made the conscious effort to sort of put myself more out there. Naturally outgoing guy, so it wasn't too difficult. But I wanted to connect more with the people in my college, more people on campus, and I figured there was no better time to do so when I'm not playing and have to dedicate like hours to football. So I do relate to that because I've seen it and I understand how former teammates have expressed that they think that a lot of the students on campus don't really want to associate with them because they're athletes or there's that natural disconnect there. And then as a former athlete, I can see that, but I also try to encourage a lot of the athletes to put themselves in these spaces. Go to your college, connect to the people there that you have as a resource, and build these connections. Because, like you mentioned, like you're gonna run into them after college. So why not start establishing a foundation for these relationships now to help you in the future? Yeah.
I think that's it. You use an interesting word uh, that I think we've sort of uh, Alex and I uh, we wouldn't have used the word choice that you just used right
Mm.
there. It's like when you're part of the athletic department, the word that you just used is you felt isolated.
isolated.
Yeah.
You picked up
Yeah,
on that,
yeah,
and I think as athletes, given I ran track and field,
Right.
and like I wouldn't have used the word isolated. I would have used the word that's my community,
Yeah.
right.
that's my group,
Yeah.
right? That's who I choose to spend time
Mm.
with. I don't think that I felt isolated. It was almost like self-imposed isolation,
Right.
or you have like a ready-made group of
Right.
people that's there.
It's,
So it
it's
didn't
convenient.
it didn't feel isolating. It sort of felt like I'm in my group and everything over there is
Yeah.
not in my group, right? And so you have such a unique perspective
Yeah.
in that you were in that bubble
Yeah.
and then now you're not. And so the word choice that you used, I thought was super interesting that you said that you felt so at the time,
Mm.
did you feel isolated?
I think there was
Or you didn't realize it until after you left that
yeah,
you were
maybe
being
yeah.
isolated?
Maybe it was a little bit after I left. That like perspective I have now is definitely a little different. But it's just like some of the conversations that I still have and had in the past where people it's that natural community feel like you're with these guys and people, your team all the time, but you sort of you start limiting yourself to just this initial community that you kind of came in with.
Mhm.
And I talked to people in Will Rice and other colleges about they're like, oh, I didn't even know we had a football game, even though the stadiums
Yeah.
are on campus. It's
Yeah.
because they feel like they have no reason to go because they don't have relationships with maybe some of the athletes. So it's like if I think that if we just just brought it like just talked a little bit more and went to colleges a little bit more and when you have the time it can start building more connections that can even like increase fan attendance at games and relationships. But yeah, it's definitely it's a challenge to put yourself out there because you're tired from practices. You spend most of your time at the facilities, games, all of the optional lifts, but it's like
Yeah.
you have all these things you have to attend to, so you feel like you don't have the time or the energy to spend kind of going out there doing other things. Yeah, doing extra things.
I think that that group aspect is funny also, just in the thinks of just other colleges as a whole. Also, just other colleges, you go there and you have to find a group. If you're not an athlete, so to say, you have to find a group. When you go to Rice, you have a college. Your college becomes your group. College becomes your family, becomes your fraternity, what have you. So you initially get to Rice, and then you have this group that you can do interactions with, you can do events with, you can do intramurals with, and like this is your family straight from the jump. And then for me, I'm coming into summer workouts before regular students get there, before O week starts. I already had this family that I'm, tied to football and working out, stuff like that. And then I go to O week. And now I'm meeting these kids and I'm trying to interact with them. I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like, this is my new family, my college. And then in the middle of some event that you're supposed to do, you got to go back to football practice.
Right.
Or you got to go to two-a-days. So initially from the jump, you're connected a little bit from what they're doing and the interactions they're doing and the fun that they're having off top. And I feel like you have to kind of, like you just said, like, all right, now I gotta go do this, go get tired, miss one of the events, now I gotta go eat and then catch up with them to do another. That's what it would have to look like to get back to interacting in that fashion, without I don't know, but like that's just kind of, I don't know if I say at the end of that, but that's what I'm saying with a sense of the groups are already kind of pre-populated, and then you have to really work to kind of get back to that interaction, and building that up over time.
That's exactly right. Yeah, that is so interesting. So, but so you quit.
Yeah.
You quit. You were like, you mic dropped it. I am out. Like what? So maybe you said it, but I'm not exactly sure why. Why did you choose to quit the football team?
So end of my sophomore spring, I wanted an internship, and I was really interested in politics and business, and so I wanted to find something that was with those two there. So I applied for a lobbying firm, the Madison Group on Capitol Hill, back home in DC. Got accepted, was super excited. But you have the summer workouts, the practices. So I couldn't commute from DC back to Houston and make all those. So the decision just came up of like, which one am I going to choose? So talked to my parents, came to the decision. Like it was probably just better to step away and fuel something else. Yeah. My time and energy, something else. Yeah.
Okay. So it was a summer internship.
Yeah. Summer internship.
It really drove that. Yeah. Okay. And you're just like, I can't do both.
Yeah. I can't do both. Maybe if I was in Houston, it would have been able to work out. You can do both. I know a lot of guys do both.
Yeah.
Back in DC is too far.
Yeah. That makes sense. Interesting. Especially since you're not on scholarship.
Right. I was nothing holding me back.
Yeah.
Free will to completely just
one thing you can make some money, the other one you can't make some money.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. So that's an easy choice.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. That's so interesting. So now you're a regular student, and now to the point that Alex just made, like you have your sort of ready-made crew when you're in athletics, and now you're not in athletics. So how was it transitioning, sort of getting integrated back in with the general student body then?
Yeah. I think honestly it wasn't too difficult just because I was close with my OE group. I was close with a lot of people in Will Rice, and fortunate that like they were always around. They're always a great group of people. So it wasn't too difficult, but I was definitely just harder to adjust like schedule wise. I'm coming from a very structured schedule every single day. I know exactly what I'm gonna do for the next week at a time. And so now I kind of have to just readjust and figure things out and fill my time with, and just be proactive, fill my time with positive things instead of just being leisurely and not working out anymore.
So us athletes, we always say, because a lot of times we feel like the students look down on the athletes because they like there was some sort of exception that
Mhm.
allowed the athletes to get in and they don't necessarily deserve to be there, athletes often rebut back
Yeah.
and say, our GPA is higher than the general student body.
Yeah.
Our graduation rate is
Mm.
higher than the general student body, right? And so part of that is you mentioned sort of the rigor of being a student athlete.
Tough,
Like
yeah.
you don't have time to like, oh, I'm just going to take this afternoon off.
Right.
Like that's just never an
Doesn't
option.
happen.
It's
Yeah.
just never an option. So you actually just raised an interesting point that all of a sudden now you got all this free time. Like, how did you make that? How did you make, like free time,
Yeah.
right? Like, if you ask a general student, do they feel like they have free time? And they'd be like, no, I don't have free time. And was like, so you got a lot more free time than
Yeah.
student athletes do. So now all of a sudden you've got this free time. How
Yeah.
did you make that adjustment? That's so interesting.
Yeah, I just started filling it with things that I was interested in and found new things to get interested in. So started hitting Herman Park golf range a little bit.
What?
Yeah, trying to
Okay.
work on my swing. Yeah,
All right.
it's still coming along. You can see it. But yeah, just finding new things to do, new hobbies, new activities on campus, new things to do in Houston, and just making sure like once I finished all my schoolwork, I would just find new activities to get involved with. Yeah, and to touch on the point of, I've had those conversations where people have said they think athletes got it easy when coming to Rice. Everyone knows Rice is a difficult school to get into, but they think that athletes got this easier path to get there. And I tried to explain to them that everyone is good at something, and if you use what you're good at to get somewhere, there's nothing wrong with that. Someone that could be good at playing an instrument that got them here, to play for the band or anything. It's using what you're good at is not make it an easier way in. You're just using your skills to get to somewhere that you want to be, and from there you can do what you want. Yeah.
Excellent perspective.
Use what your mama gave you.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
For sure. It just, so yeah, that's so good. So Alex,
Yeah.
now that you're graduated, you're
Mhm.
up and out, you've been out for a few years. We've been having some conversation. Like, what would you do differently now that you're an adult and you sort of reflect back?
While I was there, what would I
Yeah,
do
like
differently?
if you had that to do all over again, what would you have done differently?
Biggest thing would be the networking aspect, not just with current students, but also with alumni. Like we were talking before, the camera cut on, just like alumni events where alumni comes back and they can teach you about internships, they can teach you about your resume, teach you about interviewing skills. There were events like that offered. I can't particularly say they felt targeted toward me in a sense. And I was also a little bit introverted at that time. Like I still kind of am, even though, when you see me when we're working together, I can do some good business development, but that's because that's my job. And I'm put on a good face and, never let them see you sweat. But I'm terrified anytime I'm doing it. You know what I mean? But I've, developed those skills over the years, but 10, 15 years ago when I was on campus, it was not developed yet. So one, I wasn't trying to go interact or talk to new people or interact with these people that are high level CEOs and stuff like that. I was just nervous or felt like I'm not, that's not the space for me, or I don't belong there yet. Is kind of how I felt while being there at the school, possibly because of I'm just an athlete and I'm not at the level of a regular student or something like that. But that's just personally how I kind of felt at times. So unless it was like really particularly geared toward like, hey, athletes come out to this event, we're looking for hardworking people that want to do this type of job. Then I would probably go to one of those events. Other than that, I didn't really do the networking or going to shake hands with some former alumni or anything like that because I didn't feel like I had anything to offer. I didn't know if they were just giving out handouts. I didn't know what I needed to do to be a part of those conversations or make an impact or bring value to those conversations. So that's what I would have done differently. Just go out there, just get out there, shake hands. You never know what it'll turn into. You can meet somebody that's just from your hometown, or you can meet somebody that would have known my dad or something like that, and that would have just been just a general connection, and we could have built something from there. But because I either stayed in my dorm or just stayed in the locker room, didn't go to the event, that's what I kind of regret doing now.
Yeah, I fully. I'm the same, and I was, and and you describe yourself as an introvert. I thought for a long time I was an introvert. Somebody told me, "No, Bryce, you're not an
Yeah,
introvert."
you're definitely not.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like, but I told myself that for a while. I told myself that I
right.
was an introvert, so I convinced myself that I
Mm.
was. And then at some point, I just realized, you know what? I just need to let that go because I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not an
I'm
introvert.
there. I'm getting there with you. I'm trying to, you know what? I'm really good at talking to people when I open my mouth.
Yeah.
And I just don't feel like doing it all the time.
But you know who's not an introvert?
Mm.
Charlie.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that-
That's right.
that-
That's right. Definitely not. That's right. 100%.
I can't even pretend.
100%. 100%.
Not at all. Not at
He
all.
ain't stopped smiling since he walked in the door.
Yeah.
Happy to be here.
I'm excited. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So that in the West, it's just easier to be an extrovert.
It
Right?
is.
That's true.
So you got that going for you. So that's good.
So what did you feel like? I mean, it's funny enough that we're all kind of like 10 years distance from each other, or from me. Both of you guys are kind of 10 years range from me. Like,
Mhm.
what did that look like for you as well? Like, while you're on campus and in a networking space or being in connections.
I didn't feel like Rice did and I don't know if Rice didn't do a good job of it at the time or I didn't take advantage of it. And the reality is it's probably a little bit of both. But I don't feel like Rice did a good job of giving me the opportunities. And I don't know if I felt like maybe I was entitled that I should have just gotten those and think and like opportunities are just gonna magically rain down on me from the sky.
That's a good point.
Maybe I thought maybe I was thinking that like
Yeah.
if I just show up all because being an elite athlete, right? Like you never have to seek attention
Mhm.
when you're an elite athlete.
Mhm.
Like it just comes to you. And so I think from my perspective, I always felt like I just always had the mindset that I'm just gonna let my results speak for themselves. I never was like a big self promoter
Right.
kind of person. I would just let my feet speak for themselves and the results speak for themselves, and I wasn't gonna be out there self promoting.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's just how I naturally carried myself for a long time. So which I think is admirable in some sense. Like I'm not out there, loud mouthing it and like self promoting myself all the time. But the downside is that I sort of felt like if I just show up and I put in the work,
Yeah.
like results are just going to happen, and that can happen in athletics, especially if you're talented already. Your results can speak for yourself, but you know where that doesn't work? In the business world.
Yeah. Mhm.
Your results don't speak for yourself
No.
in the business world. You have to get
speak for
out
yourself.
there and speak for you have to be your own
Absolutely.
advocate out there. And you got to be out there pushing
Right.
and making it happen. And I think I had this expectation that because I was so successful as an athlete, that was automatically going to translate into the business world. And it didn't. Nobody came knocking at my door asking, no one was recruiting me to be
Right.
at their
Right.
company,
Right.
Like you got to go
Yeah.
out and interview.
Yeah. Right. Right.
If I don't go out there and interview, I didn't apply to Rice,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
Like Rice came looking for me.
Mhm.
Like the recruiters came looking for me. I don't know how many scholarship offers I had. I had 30 or 40 scholarship offers across the country from schools that I didn't even know.
Exactly.
I didn't even know who those schools
Yeah.
were until I got the letter in the mail and I looked it up and I had to punch it on AOL
Hey,
with the modem and go research like
he got there. He got there.
what is this school? Yeah, like I didn't even know who this school was, right? So as if you're an elite athlete, a lot of times things just sort of fall in your lap.
Mhm.
But when you graduate, nothing falls in your lap. Once you're out there in the real world, you got to
100%.
go make it happen. You
Yeah.
got to be your own advocate. You got to be you got to be your own cheerleader,
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
And I think so. I think in some sense, I was expecting Rice to promote me,
Mhm.
and
Mhm,
I was expecting opportunities to kind of just fall in my lap.
Yep.
And that structure is not built.
Correct.
At the time, there was no structure at Rice.
Correct.
And I think as an elite athlete, I was expecting that, and that didn't happen. And I don't think anyone pulled me aside. I don't think anyone told me
Yeah.
that, hey man, you got to get out there and you got to hustle.
Yeah.
Like every day that you show up for practice,
Mhm.
you got to show up
Yeah.
and go out there, get your internships, get your job, get out there looking for jobs. And I don't think I learned that lesson till much later, and after it was kind of too late. And so I still feel what I heard was that the football team has a lot of structure that's sort of built in, and there are internships and connections that happen through the football team. And I always remember being upset that here I am, an elite track athlete, and then the football team has this whole networking group that's associated with the network.
So you was looking down on us too. That's what I'm hearing.
For sure, like for sure, like
these guys got internships.
they get and I'm like, how come I don't have
or at least a system set up.
access to that, right? Like I would like to have that.
Right.
I would have liked to have had that. I don't know if any of that was true, but
I mean, from my perspective, it's a few real football alumni that will come around all the time.
Right.
10 or less guys that will come around all the time. And you would know from the upperclassmen, like, hey, this is the guy, he hands out internships every year. This guy hands out internships every year. That guy hands out internships, but they pay a lot, but it's across town. Like, but that was it. Like, other than that, you would probably find these internships on your own. Like every internship I had, and I pretty much had an internship every single summer, I was working with my professors, or I was working with some of the guidance counselors in the office to like connect with people and then reach out to people to find an internship for myself. So it wasn't a lot of structure over there for the football team. It wasn't anybody telling you to go get an internship either, because they want you to come to summer workouts and not have a offsetting schedule because you got to go to work at 9 and you can't do the 7 a.m. workout. You got to do the 6 a.m. workout. Like, so they're not telling you to go get an internship for the summer, but you know that that's probably what you need to go do to keep, being best in class with everybody else that you're going to be graduating with and getting jobs with. But I would say it's some opportunities there set up for some players to get internships, but it's not for everybody. So you still did have to run out there and get it on your own. So how was it today?
I think the biggest flex that football gave me was just going into an interview, being able to say that I played Division I football. Like that alone was, people were blown away by that, because once I start breaking down the schedule and things that are demanded of you, it's people are like, oh yeah, this person can compete in the work world. Like they can get up early, they can be on time, they can be committed, they can do tasks when they're asked. So I think that's the biggest thing that football provided me. There are the same amount of like alumni that come back. Like I got shout out Emmanuel Ellerby's always, when he's in the building, he always makes it known. He's in there. He's connecting with all of us. He's at all events. He's hitting us up afterwards, trying to provide people with opportunities, and I've seen him do so. So he's one of those that comes through consistently. There's a couple other faces that were usually in there, but yeah, I think the best thing was just being in the interviews, being able to say that I played and this is what I did, this is what I accomplished. And people just being like, okay, these are the things that can translate directly into the work world. Like, now what else do you have? But that crosses off so much of it on its own, because a lot of people those skills just aren't established because they naturally haven't had to do anything like fall camp every single day. So, yeah.
And it's getting worse because everything's online. And, people we've hired, just weren't up to par with like just being on time somewhere, showing up and being professionally dressed somewhere. Like that just was like, it's kind of being left out in the cold right now that, that's a step to show up to work and work culture. But an athlete has to be somewhere on time, has to be on schedule, has to not make mistakes. It does feed to like helping out in those interviews, especially coming fresh out of school. Yeah. Oh yeah, that they ate that up for me as well. So, it worked out.
It's natural. It's natural. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What is so you've got access to two folks that have been out in the workforce for a while. Like, do you have any questions for us in terms of, or maybe the reverse question, like what you've been out in the working world and you've been involved in the recruiting and hiring process. So like, what advice do you have for, as he's you're a junior, I just heard something yesterday, day before. Sorry to stop my own question. But and we'll come back to that. But what I just heard is like people are locking in on internships in their sophomore year to get commitments to work after graduation.
Yeah.
Sophomore year.
Yeah.
Is that true?
That is true. Some of the recruiting for a different industry, it's ridiculous. Yeah. They got people locking
Like
in.
you get job offers post graduation, your sophomore year.
Yeah. It all depends. Yeah. You scroll on LinkedIn, you'll find a good amount. You'll find a couple. Yeah. But it's
That's different.
It is different.
That's different.
Because a lot of times you don't even know what you want to do. You don't even know
Right.
things could change by the time you get to that point. But
Yeah.
I think that people are just so stressed with all this noise about the job market and everything. They're moving with more anxiety and everyone's frantic. So they're trying to lock things in as early as possible. Without even knowing if they actually want to go down that path. But the security of knowing that you have something
100%.
rather than thinking you could maybe end up with nothing
Absolutely.
it's driving people.
I've seen it at the end of junior year.
Yeah.
Or even like a junior year winter break.
Mhm.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
You can get an offer then.
Sophomore year.
But sophomore year is
Sophomore
that's
year.
Pretty
different.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
Like it keeps like
It goes further back.
right.
You got eighth graders knowing what they're
Right,
doing.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
It's like LeBron being on Sports
Yeah, yeah,
Illustrated and as a freshman.
17, you get NIL, you get your job offer, life set up. You know?
Yeah, it is. It is wild. That is wild. So, so that's way different in terms of like when we were there. Like when I graduated, I didn't know what I was going to even do. Even after I graduated, I was out there looking for a job after I graduated. Now you got people that just like know where they're going to work in their sophomore year.
100%,
That's wild. So can't speak to that part of it and the stress of like, because I feel like if you get to like your end of your sophomore year and you don't have that internship lined up, like now that's probably stressful.
Very stressful. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's stressful. They say like freshman year, it's good to get something in the summer, but you're still sort of figuring things out. But I've just heard like, they always say sophomore year, you need this internship, you need to do something. And then junior year, you get something else. And then ideally you want to get a return offer so you can return after your senior year. And so there's a lot of this stress that's being put on a lot of people to do that. But I think a lot of people, you need time. You need time to figure out what you like, what you don't like, and experiment and do different things to see what road you want to go down. But I don't know is that the route people should be taking? Because there's
I don't see why not.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have anything against it. It's just different. I mean, I think I did a different internship every year. They were all in relation to business or sports. But now that I'm like reflecting and remembering, I worked the entire time I was at Rice also. So I was either working in the ticket office or I was working the valet at night at a club. Like the whole time I was at school. So I was doing that. And then I would get an internship every summer. So yeah, like
stacking some money doing valet.
I was just trying to like survive. I mean, at that point, we were getting, $50 a month sometimes, and then after that we were getting $800 a month, but half of that's going to rent. So I mean, I'm trying to make groceries and haircuts and gas and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just needing some money in my pocket. So yeah, I wasn't really going after like an internship that would be an end all be all for me. It was just like, let me get my foot in the door here, see if I like this. Oh, this is with sports and business. Let me see if I like this. Oh, this one's related to ticketing. I've been doing some ticketing stuff that's on campus. Let me see if I like this. And that's just kind of where it led. So again, I was just still exploring who I wanted to be, what industries I like, where I wanted to be around, what kind of work I wanted to do. And not so much of, I know what I want to do. Yeah. I'm locking in that only. I'm only working in that industry only. I'm only targeting these type of internships. I was targeting what paid. Like if it was an internship that didn't come with money, I'm not good. Like, you know what I mean? I don't have time to like just work for free right now. Like, so that's another aspect to it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
internship was just about getting cash.
This is summer. This is summer cash.
Right.
Yeah. If I can use I go to Rice right now to get into an industry I like to do this job. Cool.
Yeah.
If not, like I'm working for Chick-fil-A or something. Like,
something that pays.
Yes. Like it was about getting money.
Yeah.
It wasn't about like starting your career.
Yeah.
It was funny enough, that's like I mentioned earlier, like those alumni that would come around, some of them, like people knew who paid the most for their internship. So so many people were going into oil and gas and had no idea what they were getting into, but they just knew this is the internship that pays the most. I'm just gonna go hang out here for the summer, not caring if it was part of their interest or not, or they wanted to be a mayor as well, but they were like oil and gas in the middle of the summer.
Yeah.
So like that's just what it was at the time. Interesting. But today, everything's all about experience. What do you have experience in?
Yeah.
Can you do this job that we're offering? It's not so. I mean, I don't look at entry level kind of offerings, but from my perspective, it's just experience and getting in that lane and at least having something to relate to that's in that lane. Or another thing that's coming around right now is just certifications. Certification. I feel like that's what majority of people are looking for. I mean, even for me at 35, getting the certification solidifies my work more than sometimes my work. So I feel like even if I'm have extra free time, sometimes I don't got to go to practice no more. Maybe I can just find some Google certifications online or different things like that stacks my resume even better. That comes along with my experience.
Yeah.
So now I might not just be competing with entry level people. I'm entering with like seasoned people as well for a role that I can compete with because I have these certifications that people are looking for to knock out and execute the job that I'm going after. So
I do have a question though, because I always think about this with like a lot of my friends still being athletes and on the football team. How can they maximize their experiences in the work world when the schedules I think are just becoming more demanding and there's more things being asked of them? How can they go out there and get like meaningful experiences that can directly translate into the work world for after graduation? If like pursuing professional sports is an opportunity.
Such a good question.
Honestly, it's something that I kind of find myself doing sometimes as well. It would be like we just mentioned, going after internships, but I was just going after for money.
Yeah.
I would just kind of reach out to alumni and just say, "Hey, can I shadow you for a day?" Doesn't have to be a whole summer thing. Doesn't have to be a paid day thing. Like, hey, I just would like to shadow you. I like to learn more what you do. I feel like a lot of people that be open to it. A lot of people are entrepreneurs as well, so you can just kind of roll around with them. You don't have to get badge clearance access to go to their 9 to 5 or whatever. But just to understand, like, what's this look like on a day-to-day basis, and then you kind of see, okay, I kind of like that. And then now you have some free time to think about it a little bit more, study a little bit more, go watch YouTube a little bit more, AI, what does this job entail? How much does this job pay? All right, now I like that. I want to, explore that a little bit more. And again, like, there are little certifications I can already start studying and understanding for that role. But something like that, like, say you do that, all summer, and you got, 8 weeks, so you're with a different guy for 8 weeks in the summertime, just reaching out to alumni and say, hey, can I shadow you for a day or two? And now you have a better perspective of potentially what you would want to do in the future. You didn't, waste a whole bunch of time working for somebody for something that you didn't like doing, but it was a cool way to like get experience. Now you got a network. Now you have, God, what's the word I'm looking for right now? Mentors, you know what I mean? And that will assist you and continue working with you. And like now they have a network. Oh, you did like that, but you didn't like this aspect. I got a guy that also does this. I think you'd like that. You should go talk to him. And that is what just leads to being well-rounded, having a good network, and then also kind of finding what you're kind of interested in. So I would say that's an easy way to do that. And a lot of alumni will be open to it. That's from what I think. But
yeah, I think a lot of alumni are open to it. And I think one thing that Rice hasn't done the best job at is making those connections. Right. And it sounds like on the football team, like there are a few people that intentionally kind of come out and do that. In the past, at least when I was there, that was my experience. And then what I'm just, just making space for those opportunities. Like, I hear about, A&M or, some of these other schools where they've got like a published alumni, book. And if you just want to call up somebody, you just flip to page 23 and I'm calling that person, right? Like,
that is something we don't have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I had to find somebody to hopefully connect me with somebody to talk to an alumni. It wasn't like I can pull this book up and find this person and see what I could do. Like one thing I did when I was looking for a job, and I think this still could work today because I think it's a really good idea. So nobody stole my sauce out there. But there used to be a magazine called H
Nobody's watching
Magazine.
this, so don't worry about
it. There used to be a magazine that used to come out called H Magazine. Do you remember that?
Mhm.
It was like a business magazine in Houston for, I don't even remember what it was for. I don't know if you want to promote your business or they just want to do a story on you. I would literally just go to that magazine some days, see a person. Okay, this is what they do. This is where they work at. And I would write a handwritten letter and just say like, hey, I'm an athlete. I do that at XYZ. And
That
this
would
is what I'm looking for.
100% work today.
Yeah. And because it stands out and it's different, and I'm trying to make, I don't know how far it made through the mail and stuff like that half the time, you know what I mean? I think
Worth a shot though.
I think like 1 or 2 people kind of reached out, but I thought it was a really good idea to get in front of people in a unique way, other than nowadays it would be just trying to reach out via LinkedIn and
Let me double down on that.
Yeah.
So I was at an event last week, I believe, for LPGA event, and I was sitting in listening to the coaches, and they were doing a little panel talk in front of high school girls. And one of the things that one of the coaches said was, we all know everybody's got AI right now. And if I get a letter from somebody that's an email or whatever it is, and it just says, hey, coach, like I already know that was just a copy and paste and was probably AI generated. Like we know when it's AI generated. Like, so like, if you want to try to reach out and connect to us, like it's gotta be personal and you gotta come correct. Like I want to know that you put in some effort, right? I want to know that you care and you spent at least a couple of minutes researching and understanding who it is that you're bothering to reach out to right now. If I receive that communication from you and it just feels like a chain message, it's going straight in the trash. Like swipe or straight in the trash. So that's interesting. Like, so the story that you said is not only valid, it's more valid now than ever.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Very true. Very true.
Like that, if there's like, there was a lot of people that would send mail before, but if you did that now, that makes you a unicorn, right?
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
That is unique.
So I had a question just related to, for both of you, as Black men, same scenarios of networking or connecting with people at Rice or trying to get a job or anything like that. Did it feel to you all that things were driven toward everybody else and instead of the Black man, or not? And not saying that anything needed to be directly targeted at us, but did you feel like this is something that, as a Black man, if I go to this, I will find value in it?
Are you doing it on campus at the time?
Yeah.
Man, I think our earlier conversation, right, where there's some of it is, I think some of that is true, and then I think some of it is also self-selection.
Correct.
Right.
Which is why I asked. It was kind of the conversation earlier. I wanted to get this in earlier, but I felt that as well. But that's why I wanted to ask it.
It's
so
like
I thought about that.
Well, so I'm super interesting, right? Because and I think you're interesting. I don't know fully your background, Alex, but like I'm biracial, right? And I was actually raised by a white family. So in terms of being on campus at Rice, hanging out with a whole bunch of white people, like straight away is not an environment that I feel uncomfortable with. Right. And so from my perspective, that I never felt that directly, but there is just like a cultural difference. Like, and I was just being an athlete, and and so once I started my freshman year in high school, I was on the track team and predominantly around, but I ran cross country, so that's a whole bunch of white people. But then I ran track, and there's a whole bunch of Black people, and that there's that. I don't know. There's all those dynamics. It's like a pot of gumbo. I'm not sure what you're supposed to do with that. But to answer, from your perspective, answer your question, I don't know that for me that was the driving piece. But I can tell you, I was always aware of the fact that I identify as Black, and I was always aware that I'm Black. But it wasn't necessarily. I don't think I perceive that as a hindrance at least not from my perspective.
Gotcha.
But I think I'm
Unique.
fair, but but I don't want to sound like elitist because
Right. No, no, no,
everybody's
no, 100%.
everybody has
No,
something
no, no,
about them
yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
different,
No, no,
right?
not saying
Yeah,
that. It just we all are kind of different perspectives.
yeah,
Um, walk on, it's a different perspective, and now just a full-time regular student. You track, cross country, white background, a little bit of different perspective, and then me a different perspective. So I'm trying to make sure what I felt was either just for me or was it for the
you're asking a
majority?
question. So what's your?
I mean, to your point, I mean, I grew up with a few white people at my school, so I'm comfortable interacting with them. But I came from one of the blackest cities in the U.S. at this point now. I played football with majority black people. I went to Rice on the football team, probably half black people. I wear fitted caps. I wear Jordans. I love my sneakers. Like, you know what I mean? So walking into different spaces at that time as a 18, 19, 20-year-old, I don't look like everyone else at Rice. You know what I mean? Like everyone else at Rice could care less about their appearance. They just care about their intellect. I care about how I look. I want to go get a haircut. I want to get a fresh t-shirt. I want to look presentable at different events and spaces. And then again, majority of people around me could care less. And it's just like, where do I fit in here? Like, like who? If they're here to talk to this group, then nobody possibly could be here to talk to me or like have the same perspective I have or understand what I'm looking for or can relate to me at times. And not saying that I needed that to happen, but just to understand at that time and at that age, you would have to assimilate to be in that space and be comfortable in that space, be comfortable who you're talking to in those spaces. So I just want to make sure if anyone else kind of felt that as well, or if that was just a me thing because of my like background.
100% felt it. 100% felt it. But it's just feeling it and then being uncomfortable or be able to embrace it is different. I don't know. What's your
I think there's two pieces I think about with this. I think I was so fortunate to grow up in DC, just surrounded by like powerful black people and a lot of powerful like black men like around me. I went to a private school, so it's predominantly white and having to be social with white people, but I also had majority black neighborhood, so I'm into. So I have the mix of both parents being black, but just being able to see powerful black individuals every single day in my life kind of gave me that reassurance and that confidence going into almost any single space, because I've seen people that look like me doing things that are amazing like every single day. So that kind of gave me that confidence and that power. Yeah, well, the second part, I guess I do feel what you're saying about that, because if I feel like an event is coming to be tailored toward like the average Rice individual, a lot of the times there's so many specifically athletes that don't feel like they fit in with the average Rice individual. And I think there may have been events where I've sort of felt like that, but yet again, just going back to the people that I've seen in my life do things like that, I was like, there's no stopping me going to these events and finding where I fit in. And if I don't immediately fit in, making myself fit in one of these spaces and making them notice me.
That's excellent too. Just that upbringing aspect as a I guess as a dad now myself, of a 5-year-old daughter. Like what did you mentioned like kind of seeing black people in those prominent spaces to help you kind of know that you can do anything. There is no ceiling. Is it anything that your parents kind of like instilled in you that made you be like as phenomenal as you are today as a student athlete at a highest level, to be a walk-on, just to be able to get into Rice individually at a high level? Is anything that they put into you or like that you can think of that said like, all right, this is the trigger that's like pushing me and I know that I can do all of these things? That just from my perspective, like, so I can raise a kid to be like as astounding as you are.
I think like, it starts with I'm just very fortunate. My parents were just absolutely amazing. Like seeing them accomplish so much was the first thing. Like my earliest memories are them doing things in front of me and like being successful black individuals.
Gotcha.
So your daughter's very lucky to have someone that's doing those things too in front of her. But also just they would always bring around like black men around me that were successful, that are in different fields, and I was able to see that, to see people like me that look exactly like me doing things in a number of different fields, and so I was like, there, the broad spectrum of
Right.
everything that I could go into,
Right.
and sort of being able to see like whatever path I went down, there was someone that looked like me that was at the top of that path that I could reach, and I could go further than them. So having those people around me, and I think that also um, I've seen a lot of Black alumni. Like this has been like fantastic, and the ARUBA event was amazing to be able to see a lot of Black alumni that still care about rice, that still care about the future generations to come. As it's like empowering and it's exciting to see. And I hope to be like one of those people that's doing that to give back to people, like to show athletes more, give them more confidence going into the working world. So just always bringing around prominent Black individuals and reminding whoever it is, your daughter, like anyone else, that there's people at the top of all these fields that you can be just like, and there's no like linear path to go down. You can, whatever you choose to do, there's someone that looks like you, that's willing to represent you, that's willing to like stick their leg out for you, that's going to be there. Yeah.
That's excellent. It speaks to like a regionality thing, two, a generational thing of like, funny enough, like you are interested in politics, and like probably while you were growing up, Barack Obama is a president. You know what I mean? Like that's really interesting. And you're in DC. Like that's just so like that's one part of it. And the other part to me is that you took the perspective of like seeing your parents and their friends do like really great things at a high level. My perspective still pushed me to the same place, but my perspective is my father's just a really, really hard worker.
Yeah.
And he just wanted a better life for me. He's like, and I saw people that he brought around too that were just his friends, because my dad's like just a really great guy, outgoing, will help anybody, will get the shirt off his back. So a lot of his friends needed those shirts off his back sometimes.
Yeah.
And it was just, again, a perspective for me to see, if I want to not be those friends that need the shirts off his back, I need to work hard.
Right.
And you saw a different perspective of like, these are people that I can achieve to get to that level. So I just thought that was funny, like just a difference in
Still driving, both driving factors to get somewhere. Yeah.
I feel like can mic drop this conversation after that. That was great. That was great. Awesome. I know we're getting close to the end of our time here. Is there I don't know, do you have any questions? You had your earlier question was great. I loved your earlier. Any additional sort of generational question?
I guess since like the Aruba, the classic, the golf class, like how do you guys envision alumni relations now more with undergraduates, specifically student athletes, but I guess in Black undergraduates in general? How can alumni do a better job trying to encompass all Black undergraduates, but also focus on the athletes as well?
I mean, that's one of the main driving factors of why I want to have these conversations, right? I think a lot of us have graduated, and I think some of the other, some of the previous generations, we felt some kind of way after graduating, and we had the event at Reggie's house where we had 200-300 people that were there. And one, we were sort of looking around and didn't even realize there were that many Black alum that even graduated, much less getting everybody there at one place at one time. It was such a great event, and the conversation that we are all having is like, we're all mid-career at this point. We've all done some things in our career, and we're not doing a good enough job of taking advantage of the fact that we all kind of had this shared experience, and we all should be there to support each other. And so one of the key things that I hope to accomplish with having this conversation is, I think many of us felt some kind of way that maybe Rice should have done more for us. And since it didn't, I need to go out there and get my hustle on. And what I heard from a number of people, if we all sort of feel like that we've gone out there and trying to get our hustle on, And I think a lot of us are realizing that we should do a better job of supporting the existing
Yeah.
students, right? And so uh, and I think that there's a lot of anger and animosity, uh, or maybe something less than that, just general disengagement from a lot of black males in particular that that hopefully having conversations like this where we can just sort of express that we know,
Yeah.
we all know, and we're all sort of like suffering quietly in our own little corners of the world, and we should be able to reconnect and give back so that the next generation of future alumni doesn't feel as disconnected as we all have felt post graduation.
We can talk for another hour on this one. Honestly, I'll piggyback off something you said, because you mentioned animosity, and feeling like the school owes you something or they didn't do enough or something like that. And I'll only speak to that in the sense of, like, when I was being recruited, oh, that's all you heard was, oh, like, you come to Rice, you get that degree, you write your own ticket. Like, you come to Rice, get your degree, oh, you're going to be a millionaire. You know what I mean? It was said in the sense of, like, just get that paper. Not in the sense of get that paper, continue to do the work, continue networking, just like everybody else in the world. It was stated in the sense of, you get this degree, you take off. So that didn't happen for everybody.
It didn't happen for a lot of people.
It happened for a lot of people. So I feel like that's part of why, I mean, say 10% of each class, Black percentage of each class, like, comes around, because they probably feel like, oh, I got the degree, I did the thing that I said I set out to do, I'm at this high level, I'm at this executive level, I'm successful, I can come back and express that, and I have something to offer to young alumni now because I did that. But the other 90%, like, I feel like I'm in the 90% that I come around here and there. I'll come to an event here and there when I get invited. I'll stop by a football game for a tailgate. I'll talk to the team if anybody asks me to, here and there. But that other 90%, like, I got debt. I'm working every day. I got a 5-year-old that has a bigger schedule than I do if I'm not working. You know what I mean? So, like, I'm still in a sense, grind mode. I'm mid-career. I've done some things, but I'm in a sense in grind mode to where, like, all I have to offer is potentially an internship here and there. You know what I mean? Not that I don't know if I have insight to give to a younger alumni other than what I'm doing right now, just to say, hey, I think these are good steps to do to, get to where you want to go. But some of us feel like, that alumni stuff, that's for the big dogs. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't know if anybody's ever said that out loud, but that's just kind of how it feels at times. Like, no, that's for the high level executives to go back and show off and give money and donate 10,000, 50,000. You know what I mean? And that's not for Joe Schmo over here that I got to take my car to the shop later.
That ain't for me.
Yeah, that's for them. So that's the biggest part, I feel like. And then I mentioned this before to Bryce, like, me, again, mid-career, still hustling, still trying to move up, still making things happen. But if I go to this event, what does it do for me? You know what I mean? Yes, I'm supposed to be there to support alumni, and of course that gets done. But what does it do for me? Now, if there is a sense of, or a space where I know if I go there, I can network. I know if I go there, there's going to be another group of guys like me that we can kind of start building something together, partnership or some things together. But if I'm still have that sense of, oh no, it's just gonna be just a bunch of CEOs and executives there. They're not on my level, or people that run their own businesses. I still work a 9 to 5, or you know what I mean. So it's that perspective is probably the biggest perspective when it comes to who's going to events, who ARUBA is meant for. Like, is it meant for the regular students? Is it meant for the Black alumni? Like, because when I was on campus, most of the people that was in ARUBA were regular students. It was like, they would invite the football players to come to a ARUBA event, and maybe 1 or 2 went, but it was the ARUBA group of regular students, Black regular students, that were hosting the events, that was putting on the events, and we weren't really a part of it other than, like, showing up and supporting here and there. But if we had, again, more vested interest in it and helping set up events and stuff like that, if we had time, we probably would be a little bit more invested and would feel a little bit more connection to coming back to these events that we had put time in and invested in also. So like I said, we could go on for an hour about that one, but that's just kind of my standpoint on it.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, we're at the bottom of the hour, so yeah, I think we could keep talking forever. This has been a great conversation, and I appreciate y'all's insight. And hopefully, hopefully through conversations like this, we can kind of draw out draw out the importance of making these types of connections and why it's important. So thank you, Alex. Thank you, Chali, for making the time to come over here. I know you had to come over here in the rain and make it over here. So I appreciate the effort to get over here on off of campus and have this conversation. So thank y'all very much, and see you on the flip side.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you.
Part 2 coming soon.